Hello, hello, hello. Where's everybody at? Good evening, happy Taco Tuesday evening, show number two. Can't find my controller. All right. Hopefully the TV is not too loud. Gary and yeah, we just had our rain a little while ago, thunderstorm. Everybody's getting it. What did I do with the controller at? How's it going, Jerry? So I guess oh my god. I don't know. I don't know who that person is. Auntie. I sent you that photo last night. What for the what I was talking to you about. It's working, I think. Yeah. How was the morning show this morning? Wow. Omar's getting all the attention, Maria. Omar's turn. Benny got the video on her that just came out and somebody else. When Carol comes in, she'll laugh at that one, Auntie. Hey, Daniel. I made hamburgers tonight. No mods in here yet. Carol, Tim, KK, and Flying Eagle. There's Carol, Auntie. I knew Carol was going to say that. At the X2 report this afternoon came out with a new one. I hope, Carol, you can explain that to Karen about how that video was. Was that a pretty good video from the X2 report? Stay for a while tonight, Auntie. Where's Lucy at? Lucy. I'll wait a few more minutes before we start. None of it. We don't have Kay or Lucy in yet. Triangle. And Kara, did you want me to send you that video to you? I'll send it to you. There it is, fine. They go. I just sent it to you on the regular phone message. Okay, now we're waiting on Lucy and KK. Yep, yeah, I just got over with our storms. Yep. I got the first one I'm gonna play for Auntie. It's a short clip, only a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully Lucy and Kay will be getting in here. There's the first one. Oh, you got a boat? Aliens, Andy. There he goes. We're gonna get an update on. Oh, hey, Mom, Lucy, Mom. Sorry. Have you been lurking?
Destination. As we often say, channel, this is the era of show your work, the whole trust me, bro bit that we have been living through for my entire life. We're the federal government. Trust us. Shut up, shut up, shut up. That doesn't work anymore. You have to show results. It doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter what their last name is. We're going to demand results. There have been some great results in the Trump administration. There's been some things that you could work on. One of the things they could work on is following up on this promise. And we pressed the vice president about this when he said to us and broke huge news here that Ilhan Omar, in fact, did commit mass immigration fraud. He said it right
Ilhan
here.
Omar and Tim Walz, and obviously Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying that she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. Okay. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case?
Okay, so there falls to the federal government the responsibility to prosecute immigration fraud. That is not something that Congress can do. But Ilhan Omar, thankfully, is so stupid and such a scammer that she's committed what I believe to be multiple offenses that she could be imprisoned and or deported for. Now, I want the federal government and the Trump administration to take the executive actions that they need to through Homeland Security and the enforcement of our immigration rules. And that's what I pressed JD Vance on. Like, we have to see actual results. And lo and behold, people are actually getting wrapped up and are getting prosecuted for Somali scams and scams across the country. JD Vance is spearheading this. There have been some very good progress made on that front. But everybody is asking about Ilhan Omar because she just is the figurehead for fraud. Ilhan Omar, here's just one example. There are so many, but here's just one that we've studied. Ilhan Omar wrote a bill called the Meals Act. This was during COVID when the government was just printing and handing out money. The Biden administration helped Ilhan Omar write the Meals Act. And what that did was it lowered all regulations and all checks on where government money was going to provide meals for children and hungry people. So it effectively made the checks zero. So anyone, just based on the honor system, right, could say, I fed a kid today, reimburse me $18. Okay. That's what I fed the child. I gave them a sandwich, right, and a juice box. So reimburse me. And the federal government would just cut you the check. Ilhan Omar wrote that bill. And then who were the first people that started defrauding the entire federal government in this entire system? All of Ilhan Omar's friends, campaign workers, advisors, and donors, all of them in Somali-run Minneapolis, Mogadishu. And we've had now 97 different guilty indictments, like pled guilty on running a scam operation. It's called Feeding Our Futures operation, where These people were charging the federal government for meals they were not serving to children. There were no children there. It was all fake. You're telling me that Ilhan Omar didn't have something to do with this. He wrote the actual bill, and all of her friends benefited from it and scammed it. Straight to kingdom come. You're telling me, okay, I wasn't born yesterday. Where does Ilhan Omar get so much net worth? Ilhan Omar reported her net worth was $30 million. And she used fraudulent companies to get there. She said, I own a winery. She doesn't own a winery. She doesn't own a winery. She doesn't. We investigated that. We proved it doesn't exist. But what you do in small-time criminal operations is you money launder. You take legitimate institutions that might be like, cash businesses like a laundromat, and where it's really hard to trace the money, and you pump your money into that. This is like the old mob way of money laundering. So this is how Ilhan Omar would be able to claim millions of dollars that perhaps were kickbacks from a Feeding Our Futures scam. Do you see how that all works? She passes the bill, her friends get rich, they cut her in. And that's how the fraud works. Well, anyway, thank God she's probably going to prison for this too, okay? I want her to go to prison. I want her to be charged for everything, the immigration fraud, but this is a big one. House Oversight referred Ilhan Omar to the Ethics Committee to investigate her revised net worth. She claimed she was really only worth $100,000, down from $30 million due to an error. I'm sure that happens to you. If you were to do this, by the way, on your taxes, you'd be in prison. If you were to claim that you were worth $30 million, or that, let's say you were worth $30 million and you said you were just worth $100 million, you'd be in prison. Trust me, your life would be over. And it is over for tens of thousands of Americans that do this. Congressman Ilhan Omar is under investigation for major revisions for her financial disclosures. Oversight committee members are pressing for details, knowledge of welfare programs assisting Somali communities. Key witnesses of the $250 million fraud case alleged Omar actively intervened to keep the program operating. Would you look at that? Well. Somali Rep Ilhan Omar could now face federal subpoenas as she lied about her $30 million net worth. So here's what's really important about delineation of powers is that Congress, by and large, tends to have to hold itself accountable. So while Congress doesn't have a police force, right, they can't raid you, Congress can refer you to the Department of Justice. They can do all of the legwork on fraud like this, save the Justice Department time, and then the prosecutions can then come directly from Congress. Like you could kick out a member of Congress. This happens all the time. It's happened a couple times this year where you have censure votes or votes to actually kick members out of Congress if they behaved in criminal manners or have been indicted. Congress can do the work, kick the member out. They can't charge people criminally because there's not a law enforcement branch in Congress, but they can kick it all over to the DOJ, which is controlled by Trump. So that's why this is important to kind of understand like where the separations. So the immigration fraud stuff has to go to the DHS to investigate. And then the Somali fraud stuff can be investigated from Congress, right? It was Congress, after all, that voted for the bill. Ilhan Omar should be under investigation for finances. She should be thrown in prison, revoke her citizenship, and deport her. Closer look into her disclosures. I mean, listen, here's the deal. If you lie in a federal government form, if you lie on your congressional disclosures form, which Ilhan Omar obviously did here, then what you end up doing is you end up committing another felony, right? So if Ilhan Omar says she's worth $30 million and she's not worth $30 million, that's another federal felony. Try lying on your taxes. Don't, by the way. Please don't, because I don't want you in prison. Try lying on your taxes. You're done. You'll be done. You're finished. There's Ilhan Omar dancing with, I don't know, how many of these guys are her brother? I'm not sure. I'm just telling you, man, the time for results are now. If you let somebody this criminal get away with it, it's obviously not for lack of trying. President Trump literally sharing our investigation on Ilhan Omar here, which we're honored. Thank you, Mr. President. President Trump sharing our investigation here. And then wrecking Ilhan Omar, saying, why doesn't she go back to Somalia? It's such a great country. Why doesn't she go serve there? Why is she serving here? Great question. It's time for results. It's time for results. The American people, you can't let Ilhan Omar get away with it. If you let her get away with it, you're going to create 200,000 more Ilhan Omars. Okay? And that's exactly what's happening. So end all Somali fraud. J.D. Vance is doing that. End all Somali migration to this country, parasitic migration to this country. Stephen Miller is doing that. The Trump administration is doing that. And then arrest Ilhan Omar to prove to everyone that that's not allowed here. Okay, that's how you win. Hit your boy Benny, like, share, and subscribe.
Hey, the first Benny video. Let's.
That is because it is also a local light, but one with opposite effects from the sun. As we can all agree, shade from the sun is cooler than direct sunlight. But did you know the moon's shade is actually warmer than direct moonlight? The moon produces cold light, something the science priests must have forgotten to teach us all about in school. Not only that, but at times we can see stars through the moon, proving it is not some solid rock 238,900 miles away. In the 60s, true science regarding the moon was the shadow band topic of its era.
The moon is not a piece of rock, but it is plasma, cosmic plasma. Gravitational theories are out, and the new concept of the cosmos and of its laws has to be evolved. This fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation. The result will be profound and decisive, because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. And
the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
well, that will never happen.
Okay, that was a moon update. I got a 3.5 minute one. A guy was talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, how evil she got.
Messaging to buy into this whole imagery of we're the freest people in the world and the American dream is the greatest thing, and America the beautiful, and we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and so we're fed this nonstop sensationalized romantic view of America and its government and what it's like to be an American. But in reality, it's just as you described. It's 100% a corporation. And it literally hands out taxpayer-funded contracts and grants and all types of things in order to keep itself propped up. It engages in these foreign wars, which are truly evil, in my opinion. What America does across the world is truly evil. And then we pay for it all. But then guess what? Then Hollywood produces super duper like action movies that make the military, and the military is great. Look, I love the men and women in the military.
No, I'm a former Army officer, and this is like a tough one for people to get. Men and women sign up for what are noble causes. And that's what makes it even more disgusting and nefarious, because what they're actually used for has nothing to do with defending the Constitution. Definitely not that. That's what we swear an oath to. But it has nothing to do with protecting freedoms for Americans at all. Look at Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom. It's almost common knowledge at this point that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and we had no business, irrespective of what you think about what occurred on 9/11, of which I have tons of questions and I'm very skeptical of. But all that aside, those were disastrous, and they did not produce more freedom. And if you want to create more quote unquote terrorists, then bomb a bunch of innocent people that are just quote unquote justifiable collateral damage in foreign countries and displace hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them, and destroy their entire civilization. I don't think that's going to stop terrorism. If anything, that would enrage people in those areas who are just innocent men, women, and children that are, quote, justifiable collateral damage, as I've said. I'm really passionate about this topic, and it's such a tough one for people in the military and supporters of the military to grasp. Yes, you signed up for noble causes, but what you're actually fighting for has nothing to do with what you think you're fighting for.
Yes, and it's so sad. And it's truly my goodness, my heart goes out to them. And of course, because they're good, like you said, they sign up for noble causes. They're signing up to defend America and defend our security and defend their own families, which is so incredibly important to them. But they're used. And the way they're used is disgusting. It's immoral. It's wrong. And it's destroyed many of our veterans because many of them figure it out along that bloody road while they're fighting and watching their friends die or getting blown apart in some war that has nothing to do with defending America's freedoms or our own security. It has everything to do with defending the corporate interest of America and basically making a small percentage of people very rich.
Okay, a guy was talking about what MT was saying. 5 minutes. The next one. Wait, let's do this. Six minutes.
Election day. A lot of those voters thought maybe that connection could have allowed people to gain access to the county's election machines. Some reported it to the sheriff's office.
Well, on election night, Collier County voters were sending me these screenshots of what they described as a mysterious open Wi-Fi network. They were seeing them at all of the polling sites. Well, many feared that it was access to Collier County's election system.
And there was a mysterious network, 3750, that popped up at all of the polling locations that we checked.
Eric Connick first spotted the Wi-Fi signal on his phone.
I did have concerns with this Wi-Fi network.
He asked other voters who also spotted it while at the polls.
And I shared that with some of the other group of people. You know, we had all coordinated.
This one from the Collier County Public Library, another from Immokalee, all of them with the same number, 3750.
It was very odd that the same signal was coming up at all of the polling stations.
Their fear? The signal was coming from the county's tabulators, which sends election results at the end of the night. The group made clear they're not blaming election supervisor Jennifer Edwards, although they want answers.
It was brought to our attention even before the election during early voting. And it belongs to us.
Trish Robertson with the Collier County Supervisor Elections Office explaining the wireless signal was coming from the EVID machines used to check in voters.
Our EVIDs are the electronic poll books. That network is what allows our EVIDs to talk to each other and also talk to our voter registration system. That network is what allows our EVIDs to talk to each other and also talk to our voter registration system.
Why is it so important to have all of these EVIDs talking to each other?
Well, it's one of those controls in place that prevent people from double voting and from voter fraud.
Insisting the system is locked, encrypted, and safe, pointing out that the machines are used statewide and they're accepted under Florida law, something these voters say they'd like to see lawmakers address.
If we, the people, do have concerns about some of the electronic voting machines, that they should be open to listening to those concerns and possibly making some changes in the statute.
In Savannah, Georgia, there is a smart thermostat in one of the tabulation rooms that is talking to a tabulation server and reporting the votes back to China. And that was traced by a Microsoft engineer. And he brought it to our attention yesterday. So that's being monitored. We already knew that there was a huge overseas problem. And it's not just social media. Your votes in 29 different states, your votes were going to Frankfurt, Germany. They were ending up on a server owned by Clarity Elections.
Right before the election, they have some glitch appear and they say, oh, we need to download a patch on an emergency basis. And then what the patch does is it opens up a hole in the back of the system from which they log on from their Serbian office. They don't really admit this. They didn't even admit they had a Serbian office. But the truth is Dominion, which is supposed to be a U.S. company, the U.S. company is just the front. The real center of gravity of Dominion is Serbia. And they've got a technical office there. And when it was discovered, they said, well, it kind of does just R&D. No, it's the center of gravity. And they log on to the back of our machines from Serbia, and they manipulate election results. And I have this dead to rights. We have this dead to rights. What gets even funnier is they're doing this on Huawei machines. Our elections are effectively being run on Huawei machines, which are Chinese servers. And the truth is, behind Serbia is China. So China, there's a military institute in China, which is coming in through Serbia. There's Chinese nationals in the Serbian office, and they're logging onto our machines in the middle of election. I can even tell you how they do it. There's such a thing in computers, been around in the public for about 20 years, called virtual machines. You create within a server, you create a virtual machine. And so to an operator of that machine, it looks like he's operating on two machines. It just operates like but really that second machine is all in software, and it's all software. There's no physical machine.
Well, what
they do is they come in through a back door that's opened up by this patch. They create a virtual machine. Within that machine, within the actual county election equipment, from that virtual machine, they then manipulate the results, the database, the data on the database any way they want. When they're done, they withdraw and they collapse that virtual server. So there's no record of nothing. Unless you go in and do a bits and bytes forensic audit, when you go in later and you look at the actual machine and all of its systems, you don't see anything. It's only if you do forensic, you discover that somewhere in the middle of it all, they created a virtual machine inside, did all the manipulation through that. That's actually done from Serbia. And in Serbia, there are Chinese nationals doing it. Behind them, there's people in China. And this is all done on Huawei equipment.
Okay. An update on the voting stuff. I got a new lady on YouTube. I got off the Telegram. It's 5 minutes fine. It goes, so let me get your opinion on this one here.
Welcome to Donut Drops with Julie. On May 11th, 2026, at 11:01 p.m., President Trump reposted one of my posts from X, and it was highlighting the amazing work of Promethean Action, where they were talking about Obama and how it was his worst day. Just a note to everybody out there, if you're not following Promethean Action on X and YouTube, please do so. This team of incredible human beings are bringing you the actual news, bypassing the fake media. They are incredible women, and it's an incredible place where you can find information that is actually telling you the truth. There is a concerted, well-funded opposition out there to have American people and the world actually not understand what President Trump is really
guys, it's a new
doing.
lady here.
They break it down very precisely, and their work is amazing. I even talked about that President Trump reposted me, and it's not really even about me, although I'm so honored and just so grateful that he did. The point of me even saying that is to have you understand that President Trump and his administration hear we, the people. They listen to us and they see what we're doing and taking the temperature of the country. They need us on board with an understanding of what he is doing, guys. Support your president and please ignore the noise. We need to focus on election integrity and how important it is to vote. We have so many accounts out there that are actually paid to have you not care, to have you frustrated and doubting our amazing president and his administration. Do not allow them to do that to you. President Trump is taking down these globalist monsters one step at a time. Stay engaged, stay focused, and do not pay attention to all the unbelievable noise out there right now. The best is yet to come, guys, and they need our
good.
support. And you matter. Your voice matters no matter how small your account is. Keep supporting our amazing president. God bless America, and God bless this amazing administration. We love you, President Trump. Thank you for all you do.
The global financial.
Okay, I'm gonna start following her. That was good. I got the first 15 here, you guys.
To tell you, this is the real thing, and it's been hiding in plain sight.
14.
All that talk about stealing elections and undocumented immigrants voting,
The Democrats cheat, Republicans don't cheat.
it's actually a cover for something deeper and more insidious.
This may be the most important executive order he's ever signed.
Republicans have to win this one.
We've been going all over the country to look at voter rolls.
This myth of non-citizen voting appears to have been a billionaire-backed, funder-driven effort to make it harder to vote, which increases the relative power of wealthy donors.
This is all about class war. As the economy tanks, working people are becoming more and more fed up with a government co-opted by financial elites, big tech, and energy companies. At the same time, the billionaire class is working to silence any dissent to their massive tax breaks, shredding the social safety net, and mass surveillance. Just last month, conservatives on the Supreme Court, most of whom are linked to billionaire-funded dark money groups, successfully eviscerated the Voting Rights Act, further cementing Republican power.
That's the kind of ruling I like.
But the bigger motive behind moves like these actually transcends partisan politics. And that's because the various anti-voter proposals coming out of the White House would make life hell for many Republican voters too. A few weeks ago, we ran the first poll that asked working class Americans how Trump's election policies would actually impact them. We'll reveal the numbers and show how all of this is secretly being driven by billionaires dedicated to making sure working and middle class voters don't have their say in November or in 2028. Let's roll it back to 2024. In the last election, 73.6% of eligible citizens registered to vote. And only 65.3% actually voted. So already we're not batting 1,000.
The president's allies in Congress are pushing dangerous anti-voter legislation like the Save America Act and the Make Elections Great Again Act, either of which would be the most restrictive federal laws around voting in elections, basically in American history.
The SAVE Act and its permutations look stuck in Congress, but much of what they would do has been laundered into executive orders. You can break it down into a few categories: proof of citizenship, bans on mail-in voting, and intimidation and interference, all proposed under the guise of securing our elections from non-citizen voting.
I think what most people don't realize is that proposals for voter ID that have come out of this administration would be stricter than anything currently on the books in any state.
President Trump wants to mandate proof of citizenship to even register to vote, which only comes in the form of an up-to-date passport with the correct address or a birth certificate. Do you know where your birth certificate is right now?
Yeah.
I don't.
Half of Americans don't have a passport. 1 in 10 Americans doesn't have a birth certificate.
Cisco Aguilar, the Secretary of State in Nevada, sees this proposal as a modern-day poll tax.
They all say, oh, well, everybody has a passport. No, not everybody has a passport. Those that are privileged enough to have a passport will be fine. But again, it's that working class community that we are taking out of the picture and taking away the opportunity for them to have a voice.
The numbers are stark. A YouGov poll last year found that just 28% of Americans with a household income of less than $50,000 possessed a valid passport, compared to 80% of those who make at least $100,000. And the burden doesn't fall evenly on gender either. Trump's proposals would require these up-to-date records of anyone who has changed their last name. You know, like 80% of married women. Plus, the administration wants to require proof of citizenship every time someone updates their registration info. And for renters in this economy, that's often a yearly task. You don't need a tinfoil hat to start to see who is being targeted.
Working class and lower income folks, voters in rural communities, especially Native and tribal communities, and voters on the very young and very old ends of the spectrum.
Keep those demographics in mind when considering the fact that the Brennan Center found that 21 million voting age Americans don't have these proof of citizenship documents readily available. Our poll also found that 13% of the working class voting population does not have a passport. And to get one, that's a really big lift for many.
Nevada's a working community, right? We're a 24/7 economy. We are a service industry based. And a lot of people don't have access to additional resources or the time to do this. When you ask them to go spend 4 hours trying to accumulate these documents, that's 4 hours where they're not making money. And it's going to cost them not only for the documents, but it's up the opportunity costs that they could earn a living to provide for their family or themselves.
According to our poll, 66% of working class voters said that the $130 fee for a new passport would be difficult for them to afford. And 47% of working class voters say that it would deter or prevent them from voting. It'd be tough on middle class voters too. 53% say it'd be cost prohibitive, and 36% say they wouldn't be able to vote. And for what? The number of non-citizens voting in American elections is essentially zero. But since 2020, a subset of activists has become obsessed with the idea.
All of the groups that had been built up into this election denial infrastructure started almost simultaneously talking about the myth of non-citizen voting. And it was very clearly a coordinated effort, very likely a funder-driven effort to coordinate around this single line of messaging.
Brendan Fisher of the Campaign Legal Center took us down the funder rabbit hole, because while the giant gaping loopholes in campaign finance law make it intentionally difficult for people to follow the money, there are some big names that you really need to know.
A lot of the national groups get their money from billionaires like Dick Uihlein or Elon Musk, or wealthy, powerful individuals who control a lot of money like Leonard Leo.
You might recognize Leonard Leo as the guy who picked Donald Trump's Supreme Court justices.
Leonard Leo, who controls over $1 billion, has groups like the Honest Elections Project and Save Our State, which have been playing an important role, at least in helping to advance messaging and policy development.
This January, the Honest Elections Project released a big game plan that literally outlined each of the steps that Trump has pursued, including serious restrictions on mail-in voting.
Tell me about mail-in ballots.
You know, the method that Trump both constantly rails against and uses himself.
I used a mail-in ballot. You probably said, yeah, I did. You know what? Because I'm president of the United States.
There are also foundations like the Bradley Foundation, and all of these organizations collectively pour tens and at this point hundreds of millions of dollars into supporting these broad national groups.
The Bradley Foundation is a Wisconsin-based organization that put more money than anybody
careful,
into elections
Maria.
nihilism and voter suppression. They were a big sponsor of the Only Citizens Vote Coalition, a who's who of billionaire-funded anti-voter organizations, over 80 in total, a lot of them involved in Project 2025.
They help craft legislation. They provide testimony when legislation that would undermine the freedom to vote is moving in state legislatures or sometimes in Congress. They're more of the experts in the room.
Back in 2024, Only Citizens Vote created model anti-voter legislation in partnership with the massive corporate lobby group ALEC. Leading the way on that legislation was Cleta Mitchell. She's a Federalist Society member, OG election denier, and most importantly, on the board of the Bradley Foundation.
All we have to do, Clayton, is find 11,000 plus votes.
Cleta Mitchell now has her own group called the Fair Elections Fund, which helps to coordinate many of these efforts, as well as seed money to state-based groups, some of which are themselves associated with the Election Integrity Network.
Okay, here's another big name. The Election Integrity Network, which brings us down another rabbit hole. The Election Integrity Network is fueled by just a few big players, including the Conservative Partnership Institute and Citizens for Renewing America. The Conservative Partnership Institute is funded by Trump donors. It's run by former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and gets its money from big players like the Koch-linked Donors Trust Fund, a group funded by the founder of Hobby Lobby, and of course, the Bradley Impact Fund Foundation. With all of this backing, members of the Election Integrity Network have infiltrated state, local, and federal government, where they're implementing the goals of their billionaire patrons. Back in February, some of its top members attended a summit of elite election deniers and Trump administration officials. On the agenda, urging the White House to declare a national emergency to take control of elections. A month later, Trump took action with a new executive order aiming to do just that.
His latest executive order targets by mail by attempting to restrict who the U.S. Postal Service can send mail ballots to, by working with DHS to try and create a supercharged federal citizenship and voter eligibility database, which is not something that they're authorized by law to do, and not something that the federal government really has the capacity to do.
The SAFE system is a system that they built from scratch. They say does a proof of citizenship on voters to determine whether or not that voter is eligible to vote.
And spoiler alert, it's a mess.
What they're trying to do is force three major federal bureaucracies that can't function within themselves to create a national voter roll within 60 days. It's preposterous, and it's a pipe dream.
There's all sorts of false positives. There's plenty of examples of voters being identified as non-citizens when in fact they are citizens.
Let's go to the poll. 50% of respondents in each income bracket say that eliminating vote by mail will make it harder for them to vote. The alternative is voting on election day, and working class people were 6 points less likely to have the time to vote during the day than upper income respondents. 24% of Americans voted by mail in 2024. And if people can't vote by mail, they'll have to wait in endlessly long lines on election day, a time-honored way to suppress the vote.
You're damn right. We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November. We're not going to sit here and allow you to steal the country again.
After a year of ICE occupying cities and raiding people's homes and schools, people are understandably terrified of the prospect of getting locked up for trying to vote, especially people of color. Our poll found that 12% of Black, Asian, and Latino voters would be less likely to vote if they heard ICE was at their polling place. That's almost double the 7% of white respondents who said that they'd be wary of voting with ICE lurking around.
It's a huge issue. I mean, I hear about it every single day. Somebody asks me about it. And it's not only Latinos in the Latino community, it's the general community at large, because they don't want to go into a situation where they feel comfortable or where there could be chaos. People want to go where they feel safe and they feel welcome.
And while voters are being teased with the threat of prosecution, it might become a very real possibility for election workers.
The executive order also directs the Department of Justice to prosecute election officials who register people who provide insufficient proof.
When you add in that criminal element, that really scares them. It creates a huge burden and a huge weight on their shoulders, because at that point, it's not only about them, it's about their families.
So it's really setting up a kind of perverse incentive system where election officials are going to demand more and more and more proof to keep themselves safe.
The anti-democracy movement has grown in leaps and bounds since 2020, fueled by two seemingly inexhaustible resources: conspiracy theories and right-wing billionaire cash. Just how much they can accomplish for their billionaire benefactors remains to be seen nationally, but quietly, they've already had a seismic impact on a more local level.
What they've really built is a network of state-based activists.
23 states have passed some kind of proof of citizenship law, and a growing number of states are shortening mail-in vote windows. As of early May, a dozen states have complied with the DOJ's unprecedented requests for sensitive voter information, including information on individual voters targeted for disenfranchisement. And even in states where they haven't managed to pass legislation, experts say that the confusion and misinformation they promote has been disastrous. Luckily, not everyone is falling in line. The administration has now sued 30 states plus Washington, D.C. over their refusal to furnish the White House with sensitive voter information. And returning the favor, 23 states and D.C. are suing to block the latest executive order on mail-in voting, including Nevada.
We need to make sure that at the state level, we continue to fight these issues, doing everything we can by notifying and educating the public, but also using the legal system to protect eligible voters.
The administration is trying to redefine eligible voters, and despite what they say, it has nothing to do with immigration or even party affiliation. The attacks on democracy are coming from the top down, all aimed at silencing working people and ensuring that billionaires have complete control of the country. Thanks for watching. For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to More Perfect.
Yeah, I think I remember her a long time ago. I'm going to start following her. She's good. Okay, probably go. I got a new channel on TikTok. It's 4 minutes.
Clean, free, unlimited energy for every single person on the planet. The science is there. We know what to do. We know how to do it. We have people who want to do it. And yet there's this block. For a long time, I thought that block was political. I was blaming gas and oil giants who pay shitty politicians to pass policies that keep us dependent on them. Then I started researching nuclear science. I started reading geological surveys and dismantling shareholder reports. The truth is, the block was never physics, and it's not politics either. The truth is, we are being outbid by the war machine. Only 5% of the world's supply of antimony goes into solar glass, but 40% of the United States' use is in ammunition. Military spending globally was over $5 trillion in 2024, whereas global clean energy investment in the same year was only $600 billion. The war economy is 3 times larger, and it uses the same minerals. They are taking the critical minerals that we need for the actual green energy transition and redirecting them into war using public money and then calling that green. These minerals are finite, they are critical, and they are running out. And most of what is mined today ends up as bullets, not solar panels. I just want to pause for a moment on the horror and stupidity of this. There are children this morning in the DRC mining cobalt with bloody fingers for the Western supply chains. You as consumers have been made to feel guilty about the fact that some of that cobalt ends up in your smartphone. But the reality is most of it is ending up in bullets and fighter jets and drones. The bullets that this same underclass of people then gets lobbed at its head, we are making them mine it so that we can then shoot them with it, when we actually do need it in our phones. You also get told that cobalt is critical for electric vehicles. That's not true. It was, but the actual car industry has moved away from cobalt and is using lithium iron phosphate batteries, which contain 0 cobalt. So EV demand is about 40% maximum. Where's the rest of the cobalt going? Well, over half of the cobalt that gets imported into the United States is being stockpiled by the Pentagon for fighter jets. Cobalt is a mineral that is absolutely essential to the green transition. It's needed for grid storage, batteries, lithium-ion batteries. Portable electronics, which includes every phone, every laptop, every tablet, every drone, every power tool, every wearable technology, every camera on the planet, combined is using 11% of the global cobalt. So if you are worried about using your smartphone, that's propaganda. Just like how we worried about all that recycling. Because saving your plastic bottles and using a dumb phone, that's going to stop the nuclear-armed war machine. So what's real here is that some minerals are bottlenecks for solar, wind, and EVs, but they are scaling fast. They should get priority, but they are competing with war hawks. The Pentagon and the EU are racing to secure what they need for the war machine using fast tracks and public money. The financial system is funding the second list using the language of the first list. That is laundering. The reality is we are not having a serious, honest transition because the same banks, governments, and supply chains that you would have needed to build it are using the language of transition to fast track their weapon supply chain instead. The transition was never blocked by physics. It is being redirected by finance. The world.
So that's a new one there, you guys. That was pretty good. I got another one here. Let's see where I'm at. Oh, we'll play this one here. I can't remember if we played this yesterday or not.
In San Diego. First, I want to talk about Amina Abdullah, who is absolutely a hero. He is the security guard. He is a father of 8, and donations for him now have exceeded $1.4 million. So he really should be commended because he undoubtedly saved many, many lives. The two suspects that have been named are Kane Clark, who's 17, and Caleb Vasquez, who's 18 at the time of making this video. I don't have a lot of information on Vasquez, so I'll talk about Clark. So Clark is a homeschooled wrestler. He would be in the equivalent of high school. And a lot of people asked early on, why did police so quickly jump to the conclusion that this could be a hate crime? Well, it's pretty easy now that we've seen the pictures of the BMW that they were in with the gas can just kind of sitting out there with the SS. They also said that they were, hate speech. There was hate speech on weapons, and that there were notes left as well that might insinuate that. So that's how they came to the conclusion so quickly. And as the police chief said, they're going to investigate this as a hate crime until they don't think that it's a hate crime. So a couple things, and one I'm going to say is a little controversial. His mom is being somewhat heralded as like doing the right thing, but I don't think that she did. And let me explain why. She did call police 2 hours before to say that her son, a number of her weapons, that he was dressed in camouflage and he had gone missing, taken her car, he was with a friend, and that she believed that he was having some mental health issues. Well, here's the thing. Why are your weapons so easily accessible to him? Why? They shouldn't be. California has safe storage laws, especially when it involves minors, which Kane Clark is. They must be kept locked and not accessible. There are criminal penalties and civil liabilities if she has negligently stored them. So the fact that he was able to easily access them and take that many, we saw what happened at Sandy Hook. I'm sorry, but I do take proper storage of weapons very, 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 very seriously. When I've had weapons in the past, they've always been safely stored. So I really do think that she is somewhat liable for this. Now, these two gentlemen, I'd be interested to know about, obviously, their bias motive. So how did they come to believe all of this? And I do think a lot of it is probably online, to be completely honest. I've talked a lot about that group 764 and their chat rooms and sort of how they prey on these nihilistic young men. I'm not saying that they're involved in this. Obviously, we don't have that information, but there are groups out there that are doing this to young men on Discord and all different platforms. And so I'd want to know the role that this played in it, as well as are there other individuals that they were talking to that are trying to do things like this. All right, so new details about the Islamic.
Okay, that one I'm going to play more. The other one I'm not going to play after what happened yesterday, so I replaced it with the one that we just played before that one. So we'll play this one and the new lady. All right, Kay, you can come out now. Kay's been lurking, Flying Eagle. She's been texting me. Anybody see this one?
Especially in the Marianas Trench, there's a portal there that the extraterrestrials have been using forever. One of the facilities that's down under that is monitoring portals and monitoring ET activity underwater. A lot of extraterrestrial craft are kept underwater. It's a great place to hide, and they're interdimensional. And some use portals and some don't, because they can just enfold on themselves and be somewhere else, because they've already mastered, the time-space continuum and can travel between worlds. And that's a whole other physics thing.
Could you talk a little bit about, with these underground and underwater facilities, do you know where you are when you go, and how would you get underwater?
Oh yeah, it's the other thing. People are like, oh well, there's two ways to build facilities. They build a space station. They send up like different compartments, and then they connect to each other like Legos, and then you have this big space station. So one of the ways they do it is they drop these things down, and depends how deep it is, and they can assemble these with underwater drone robotic things from the surface, and make these facilities underground just by connecting them, vacuum pressuring them.
Okay, I thought I might have played it, and we're gonna get this. 8 minutes.
To run into their friends at the big tech firms, Twitter, Facebook, and Google, and to demand that they stir the story and censor it. They did. They took down our posts about it. They took down our tweets, our stories about it, and said that it was Russian election interference. It's something that would be conceived of as insane right now, because of course it wasn't. Hunter Biden's laptop was 100% real. Hunter Biden's laptop was used by the FBI to prosecute and secure a guilty ruling against Hunter Biden in his own case, which is a wild thing that Hunter Biden was, of course, pardoned for, even though Joe Biden's own DOJ prosecuted him. And again, secured a guilty conviction of Hunter Biden. They used his laptop as evidence. It was 100% real. But nonetheless, Democrats' playbook was exposed. They will run to big tech for full censorship if they get an opportunity in order to rig an election. They also, of course, rigged it through the deep state. The 51 spies who lied, you remember that? They signed a letter saying the Hunter Biden laptop, which they knew was real and authentic, had all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation op. That was all you needed. Anyway, Google admitted that this censorship happened under the Biden administration. They invited back banned users. They tried to make it right. We're thankful, frankly, for our platform here on YouTube. And I mean, there are rules on every single platform, but the overt banning and censorship over opinions, and I mean, even worse, true stories, reporting true things, accurate things, like the Hunter Biden laptops, this should never happen. And Google has admitted that this happened and has apologized for it, actually. Welcomes back MAGA. Google admitted earlier this week that COVID-era censorship policies were enacted at the explicit behest of the Biden administration. The company now says it will allow any content creator that was silenced to return to YouTube, a massive win for free speech. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that these platforms obviously do try and put their thumb on the scale, and there has been a history of them attempting to rig elections. And that goes for every platform. I am in the Twitter files. I'm in the files. The FBI was specifically targeting me and Charlie for how big and how accurate and how powerful our X accounts were at the time. We have the documents. They were going after Benny. They were going after Charlie. They were going after the guys who had big X accounts. They were doing the same thing on YouTube, doing the same thing on Facebook. So they clamped all of us down. Anyway, the point is that we survived. Now we're stronger than ever, but the op remains the same. They can try and rig elections through big tech. Now, Karen Bass holds a lead in the LA mayoral race, but Spencer Pratt has climbed like a skyrocket and is now polling better than ever. Spencer Pratt won the mayoral debate that just happened a couple of days ago in a landslide. 88% of viewers say that he won. And he won, of course, on the issue of Spencer Pratt having his home burned down by the indolence and the overt hatred of the Democrat Party for their own constituents. It's total and complete fraudulence as to why Spencer Pratt lost his home and everything in it. He has 2 little young kids, and he's running obviously on that anger. And it's a beautiful origin story for a candidate. It's very much a Donald Trump origin story, right? A reality star running because he loves, because he's seen everything go to hell and he wants to restore greatness. Anyway, restoring greatness is what Google Maps just did to the Palisades. Palisades is one of the single most beautiful neighborhoods on earth. It is positioned right there off this beautiful coast of California. California, as we have often said, is the single most gifted state geographically. It has wonders inside of it. If it weren't for the people that were running California and the throngs of homeless zombies, drug addicts, degenerates, and Democrats, it would be the most wonderful place to live in the world. But now it is hell on earth. The city of angels turned into the city of demons, and Google Maps is trying to hide it. Let's go ahead and look. Google Maps slammed for hiding brutal reality of LA fires ahead of elections. So what Google Maps did was revert back to the pre-fire maps, and it's 2 weeks before the LA mayoral race election. Look at this. So what Google Maps shows you is what it looked like before the fires, before Democrats let all of the neighborhoods get burned to the ground. Go ahead and look at the commentary here. Google just quietly changed their map of LA by using pre-fire satellite imagery. LA's election is in 2 weeks. It's gone thermonuclear viral. Google decided to show current reality might be a bad idea for election optics. So now Google Maps is serving a pre-fire images of parts of LA and our neighborhoods. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, of course, the neighborhoods are gone entirely. What you can see here now is that Google has amended this, but not without considerable pushback. This is election interference, everyone is saying. Google Maps Los Angeles, April 2026. Look at that. Google Maps Los Angeles, May of 2026. This is election interference by Google. Wow. They quietly changed their maps. Apparently, Google decided to
3 minutes.
Well, engage in election interference is what everyone's saying. Members of the Senate, ridiculous. Do you care to explain this? What's the present value that Google has done for the Democrat Party? Everyone is saying, what the hell are you doing? Of course, none of this exists anymore. All of this has been burned to cinders. Overt election interference. People are tagging the DOJ in this. I figured this was just dumb people not knowing how to use Google, but it's actually 100% true. Other areas of the region have moved up-to-date satellite imagery. I've never seen anything like this. Google has said it is a technical issue. This is a technical issue triggered by a recent routine update on satellite imagery and Google Maps, which accidentally restored old imagery from before the fire. We're fixing this ASAP. So they actually responded. The technical issue has been fixed. Post-fire imagery is rolling out again across Google Maps and Earth. Google is claiming a technical issue. How convenient, right before the mayoral election. Mistakes only go one way. Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Pratt has been making huge headway. Obviously, he's still the underdog, but he's now destroyed the number 3, and he could make a runoff. What you want to do here is make a runoff, right? So it's him versus Karen Bass. That's what you want to do. And it's like the greatest underdog story of all time. And Spencer Pratt cutting ads like this one. This 30-second ad is all you need to see from Spencer Pratt to know why this is such a devastating story and why he needs to win. Vote Spencer Pratt. Here you go.
This is where Mayor Vass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nithya Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor. For my sons and the rest of us Angelinos that want to stop these corrupt politicians from destroying our city. We are going to get the golden age of Los Angeles back.
Okay, we got too many now. We got that one guy, 10 minutes on the first one. We got the YouTube lady coming up shortly, okay.
Usually not an interweb data.
9 minutes. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, there's a lot of talk about Zoran Mamdani, and you'll hear many people say that he's un-American. And a lot of the time, when the left reacts to a statement like that, they claim that it's racist, it's Islamophobic. You're just saying that because he's a Muslim. And look, I don't want to get in the mud on those arguments, even though, you know, to a certain extent, you have to admit there is certainly a point, especially on the Islam issue. But I don't want to go there, not because I'm scared to go there, more so because I actually don't even think it's necessary. We don't even need to go that deep. No, it's actually much more simple. And really what it comes down to is ideology and values. The reason Zoran Mamdani is un-American, at least in the most glaring sense, it's his ideology. Everything this man stands for is the antithesis of what made America great in the first place. And the fact that young people today have lost connection to that all this stuff that Zoran Mamdani and these young far leftoids are advocating for, that it's been tried before, it's failed time and time again. And the reason America was so uniquely successful is because it realized that it moved a completely different direction, or let's say diametrically opposed direction. It did the exact opposite. And, again, there was so much talk during the election that Zoran Mamdani was this evil Islamic terrorist guy, but I think that's the least offensive stuff. It's moments like these that make you realize who Zoran Mamdani really is and what the problem is. Let me go ahead and show you the latest shocking clip from New York City's new incompetent mayor. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Folks, this right here, this is the issue.
In these stores, prices will be cheaper. Workers will be paid fairly and treated with dignity. Going to the grocery store will no longer cause that same anxiety for so many New Yorkers. This store will be the first of the 5 city-run grocery stores to open. This store and the peninsula as a whole will serve as physical proof of our conviction that government can be a force for good, that government can drive change that improves people's lives. And standing here this morning, I cannot help but think of the words of our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. He famously said, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, 'I'm from the government and I'm here to help.'" It's a good quote, but I disagree. I think 9 more terrifying words are actually, "I worked all day and can't feed my family." We are going to use the power of government to lower prices and make it easier for New Yorkers to put food on the table.
Zoran Mamdani invokes the old Ronald Reagan quote that the scariest words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." He takes to the podium and essentially is looking at young people, because that's who's looking up to Zoran Mamdani for the most part, and he's telling them that Ronald Reagan was wrong and that what we need is more government. We need more government involvement and government control. Government needs to be providing services and helping and doing more for the people. It's antithetical to everything that the country stands for. And the funniest part about Zoran Mamdani making this argument is that he literally can't. He cannot make this argument because he is a walking, talking argument in favor of what Ronald Reagan was preaching. And that's the thing with these leftoids. Everything's ideological, everything's theoretical. And sure, in Zoran Mamdani's little fantasy land that he lives in his own brain, I'm sure he can make some compelling arguments. Well, just imagine a world where everybody had housing and the rich people just gave it all away. And then somehow industry just continued trucking along in this fantastical kumbaya moment as people come together and seize the means of production.
There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support at this very moment.
Where corporations aren't owned by evil robber barons, but rather owned by the peoples who run them collectively in a utopic kind of production co-op. I've heard it a million times before. I get it. Sounds good in theory. Just imagine if people came together and did things together. And the problem is actually within the sentence itself. It's the word people. There are evil people. There are stupid people. There are self-interested people. There's greedy people. There's dishonest people. There's very easily corrupt people. There's very naive people who will enable other people's corruptions or fall for the scam. It's really just not that simple. We are not robots. We're not programs. We're not numbers in a freaking computer system. Sure, Zoran could probably make this argument quite well if he invokes a utopian fantasy, but I would much prefer real world examples. And that, of course, is where it all falls apart now, doesn't it? And really, to what I was saying earlier, I guess I'm going on a little bit of a tangent. Zoran Mamdani is the greatest argument against. He's the proof that Ronald Reagan was right. This guy comes in promising a million different things. He's going to make public transit free. Of course, he couldn't do that. Backfired instantaneously. He's going to launch a program to reduce the cost of rent and go after landlords. Look at the results that we're seeing now in New York City. Rent is skyrocketing. And again, you don't exactly have to look very far. As I always say with these communists, they pretend as if they've come up with this brand new idea that's never been tried before. But you know how many times rent controls and other housing controls have been tried? Government attempting to put their thumb on the scale when it comes to housing availability and affordability. Every single time, literally every single time, it's resulted in disaster. It benefits those who get in early, lock in a cheap rent, and they can hold on to it. But then it disproportionately affects everybody else way worse. It brings down supply. It brings down the quality of the supply. And all of a sudden, you've got a housing shortage. All of a sudden, the problem that you aimed to fix in the first place just got 10 times worse. That has happened in every single city or country where rent controls have been tried. And this is not new stuff. I'm not going to even source specific examples. Just Google the topic. You'll find it. This is Economics 101. No, the reality is government can't do jack squat. Government sucks at doing things in general across the board. What government is most known for is, let's just say, making stupid decisions that lead to very unfortunate unintended consequences. And that's because the effort itself, these socialist ideas, they're all based on economic fallacies. I like to draw back to Thomas Sowell's work. What he describes as the zero-sum fallacy is something these leftists either ignore purposely or can't wrap their head around. The socialist lie that we see popping up over and over again, that essentially economics is a fixed pie, and that helping struggling families just means you need to basically act as Robin Hood, coming in, taking money, or rather stealing money and resources from someone else, whether that's taxpayers, business people, businesses, producers, and then hand it over to other people with no downside. Of course, with most of that money going through this massive governmental bureaucratic behemoth, which of course is where most of the efficiency is lost. $100 that you would spend rendering a service in a one-on-one free trade transaction, all of a sudden, when you're going through government, it's going through different people's hands. By the end of it, by the time you get to the service portion, what's left? Like $15, obviously just spitballing numbers, but you kind of get the point. And that's the issue. You know, speaking of Zoran Mamdani's plan for government grocery stores, well, he makes it seem as if it's magic, but government-run grocery stores don't magically create cheaper food. No, all they do is essentially seize wealth and resources from one group in an attempt to subsidize another. And what that does is create price distortion. It creates a killing of incentive. And probably most importantly, it makes the entirety, the whole economy worse off. You know, actually, I got the Steve Hilton clip that popped up on my timeline that I might as well play here. I think it fits the context perfectly.
It's not really about helping people. It's about helping Gavin Newsom's image. It's about making him look like he's helping people. It's about making them seem caring and compassionate. Oh, aren't we so great? We're giving free diapers to people. Aren't we nice people who care about babies? No, because you're not doing it. You're taking the money from taxpayers. You're actually taxing parents to create this whole circus and bureaucratic scheme that makes you look good in your eyes. That's the point of doing it, like you're sort of Lady Bountiful handing out diapers, but actually the taxpayers funding it, and it's much more expensive than if you had just left the money in people's pockets in the first place so they could actually afford things. And this is what it's like for almost everything.
He's exactly right. And, you know, I feel like people used to understand this. It used to be kind of a fundamental principle of being an American. And frankly, it's really wild to see the foundation that the country was built on slowly erode away. And that's how I view Zoran Mamdani, as fundamentally un-American. America was founded on the view that wealth is created, not redistributed. The Declaration of Independence promises the pursuit of happiness through individual liberty and free enterprise, not government guaranteed outcomes, which are totally false promises built on fallacies. And probably the biggest fallacy, that government's doing anything. No, government is taking from Paul to give to Peter. This worldview of this big government bureaucracy run by one individual con man who views his own citizens as limitless piggy banks. You know, that's just not the American dream. It's the exact opposite. It's the type of collectivist garbage that plunged other nations into poverty. You didn't get equality and prosperity for all. You got bread lines. So not only is Zoran Mamdani just wrong when he's sneering at Ronald Reagan here, he's not just wrong on a policy level. No, he's basically taking to that podium and rejecting the very principles that built the most prosperous, most innovative nation in human history. And he's the mayor of the biggest city in America, the most influential place on planet Earth. Honestly, it's giving me Fall of Rome vibes. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching.
Okay, our hoodie guy.
Massey is on the ballot, and this isn't just another re-election race. This has turned into a full-blown showdown with the Trump wing of the party. With less than just 24 hours to go until the polls open, Trump's allies are turning the heat all the way up to high, bringing out one of their own top heavyweight voices to make the closing argument.
At some point, being against everything becomes an excuse for accomplishing nothing. At some point, constant obstruction is not leadership, it's just commentary. It's obstruction.
Will Massey be dealt the same fate as Senator Bill Cassidy over the weekend? CNN polling seems to think so. Plus, Pete Hegseth created a lighter moment by talking about what it takes to operate in Trump's world.
President Trump told me when he first offered me this job, he said, Pete, you're gonna have to be tough as shit. Sorry. He did. You ready? They're gonna come after you. And boy, was he right.
And they never quit. Then TMZ's Harvey Levin spills the tea on a race that is grabbing national attention. I mean, everybody is starting to pay attention to this race.
I was told something that I am now confident of.
And with the midterms just around the corner, these fights are only going to get bigger from here. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new, welcome. And let us know what you think about the Kentucky race in the comments below. Do you think Thomas Massie should be shown the door? Because right now, all eyes are on whether Kentucky sends another message to Washington or changes the playbook entirely. President Trump is looking to go 2 for 2 after scoring a massive political knockout in Louisiana over the weekend. By now, you have probably heard what happened to Senator Bill Cassidy. Trump backed his opponent, and Cassidy got absolutely steamrolled. In fact, CNN's own numbers guy says Cassidy just turned in the worst primary performance by a sitting senator in nearly 80 years. Watch this.
He got 25% of the vote, okay? I went back and I looked at every single non-appointed senator. This, in my mind, was the worst primary showing ever, at least since the end of...
Tomorrow's a...
Okay, I got 2 more, but we got an update. I saw somebody in the back of the seat there, okay? Our lady on TikTok. He made it through, I think. He's alive.
Your mouth looks better. Sure does. Not good news. Not good news at all. It's one of 2 cancers. I can't remember the first name. The second one is sarcoma. Epulus, I think is what he said. I've got all the information. It was very invasive. All in the roof of his mouth. When I took him to the other vet, who immediately told me it was going to be $1,000 to $1,500, she held his mouth open, and I said, "Oh my God, it's all on the roof of his mouth." And she's like, "No, it's not. That's just the roof of his mouth." And I'm like, "I know his roof of his mouth. That's not how the roof of his mouth looks. It's all on the roof of his mouth." We will know in a couple of days exactly which cancer it is. It doesn't matter which cancer it is. The end is not good. The only thing they can do is, if it's one form of cancer, they can keep lasering it out and try to slow it down. Either way, it's not going to end good. And that's the news of the day. So, we're going to live our very best life. We're going to do everything that everybody has suggested. And I'm going to work very, very hard to make sure he has nothing but all natural, good food. And I want to thank everybody. And Terry, if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have been able to get this surgery. Thank everybody. Thank you guys. Hey, we're just going to... Caesar. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. We're going to live our best life right now. Hey. You tired, baby?
That's good news. He made it through at least, and hopefully he'll make it through longer. Who do we got here, Kay? I don't know this one. Oh, wait, is that Garrett? Oh, Garrett. Good to see you. Glad you made it in. All right, time for some excitement, you guys.
increase daily package.
These yippity-yeepers had the audacity to bring their mugger bum stank into the store and shoplift for the third time.
All right, everyone. In today's body cam, we have not just one, but a whole squad in here allegedly running a repeat shoplifting tour. And let me tell you right now, the energy in this video, loud, wrong, and confidently misinformed. Because instead of just cooperating and maybe walking out with a warning, they decide to argue, resist, and threaten. So go ahead and get comfortable, because this right here, this is what happens when attitude meets accountability and loses.
Ma'am, come with me. Come with me. Where's the other one you're with?
Who?
The other woman you're with.
Nobody's with me.
You're by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Come stand out here. There's one more inside. All right, stay here. What'd you take? Did you put anything in your bag?
No, what is they talking about? That lady was watching
I'm
her.
asking you.
I didn't put
Did
nothing
you-
in my bag. I've been sitting here waiting for roadside assistance because I locked my key
so
in
if
my
I look in
car.
your bag,
You're
there's
not looking
nothing
in
in
my
there.
bag. Nobody touching my bag. Nobody's accusing me of nothing. That lady, you can ask her right there. She been walking around seeing. I didn't touch nothing, bro. Nobody's touching.
Okay,
Nobody's
well, listen.
touching my
That's
bag.
listen.
Can nobody accuse me of touching
Stop
nothing?
yelling.
No,
There's
I'm not
only
stop
one
yelling.
side of the story,
okay,
right?
well, go.
So all you have to do is say. All you have to do is
that's
say
no.
no.
Nobody's checking my bag. Simple.
Okay,
That's
so
it,
can
that's
I have
all.
ID?
I'm aggravated. No, you're
Let
not
me
getting
look at
my
your
ID. I'm not answering no questions.
you're not
no,
gonna- you're not
getting,
gonna-
No, you're not touching my ID.
Okay.
No, I'm
Yeah, I don't know.
aggravated. I'm waiting for to get the key out my car. I'm just walking around to waste time until roadside assistance come and get my key out my car.
Oh, so you're just walking around and wasting time.
Here we go, Kay.
Okay. So that's not suspicious or anything. Man, she likes to talk. She's just constantly running her mouth. What I find is that people who are easily defensive have something to hide. So do we think she was putting stuff in her bag?
Your car.
I'm not answering no questions. Why the do you keep asking? No, I'm not answering nothing.
We could probably help you with the key thing. We have like our own like people that can come out and
Coming in here walking around like what the I'm wasting time. That lady seen me right. I'm literally walking around.
Like I said, I'm not.
Okay, well,
I only
I
got
already
one
told
side.
you.
That's why I came out. I
already
want.
told you I'm not answering no
This
questions.
is why I wanted you to come outside and have a
told you I'm not
conversation with
answering
me.
no questions.
All right, then don't. Is this your friend or? All right. We're just trying to calm her down. She's pretty upset. So. Okay. Yeah. So are you guys related or just friends or? Do you know each other?
Bro, I told you I came here by myself. Why
I'm
you
not
keep
talking
asking
to
me
you.
questions?
I'm
Stop
not
asking
talking
me
to you.
questions.
Do you know her?
No.
Well, you just told me you did inside, so you're lying. Do you have your ID on you?
No.
You don't have ID on you?
I'm
Okay.
not showing no ID.
Well, it's gonna be an issue if that's the case.
I ain't showing.
So you can come back to headquarters and I'll fingerprint you and find out who you are. Okay.
You can. You can bring
All right, so, we're investigating. They're alleging that there's a possible shoplifting. So we have the right to detain you guys. You guys are detained right now, so you're not free to leave. You are absolutely detained, and we need to figure out what's going on. And if we need to ID you guys, we're going to ID you. And if you refuse to provide your information, hey, can you stay over here for me?
Bro, I'm not staying nowhere.
You-
bro.
you
What
are.
the fuck you talking about,
You
bro?
are. You are. You can get mad. I'm going to be respectful to you. You can get mad all you want. But listen, if you keep walking away, I'm going to put you in cuffs in the car.
Matter of fact, bro, I'm about to call my Uncle Drew here. Stay,
Go
bro.
ahead.
He about to come here. I don't know
Go
what the
ahead.
fuck you talking about. You got me up, bro.
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead. Call your uncle. What is her problem? Like the minute they walked up on her, she has got this serious attitude problem. So you know what that tells me? She's guilty as hell. What is her uncle gonna do? And then the woman inside. Do you know her? Yeah. Do you know her? No. It's all right, baby. I wouldn't want to know her either.
Oh, with you.
Gotta give it to the burglar queens. Filling up their sacks with $3,000 worth of loot and acting like they run the country is no joke.
So did you get a story from inside? Or? Yeah, they have a bunch of stuff in their bag. Okay. So we're gonna take 1 second. I'm gonna need your information. This is your last chance to provide it. If you don't, you will be placed on arrest for obstruction. So it's your choice. So you're upset. I understand that.
I don't care.
So I need your information. If you have ID, give it to me.
I don't have ID or not getting my ID.
All right,
Fifth
so
time.
then-
My answer's still the same
so
to
then-
all three of y'all.
So then I
What
need
the fuck is wrong with you?
then I need your name and date of birth. And if you don't provide it, then you're gonna be placed under arrest. So please provide it. Are you gonna provide your information or no?
A new era of American shipbuilding is here.
How long have you been sitting here? I just need to make my video, as cool as the collection. What about Subway?
Miss, I take that as a no. Okay, well, you're under arrest now for obstruction.
Where my mom come, bro? Not doing all that.
No, that's not how this works. You
Don't touch me,
you don't-
bro. Do not touch me. Do not touch me, bro. Do
All
not
right,
touch me.
listen.
Do
Last
not touch me. I'm telling you now.
Last
You touch
chance.
me, you gonna be mad, bro.
Last chance.
You touch me, you gonna be mad, bro.
It don't matter. It's a
You
minor
don't touch
anyway,
me.
so you
Don't
can't do
touch
that.
me. Oh, you know why
How do
the
we know
fuck
that?
you said
How do we know that?
You know why the
I don't have to until she provides it. I
Convince her.
What do you mean? Just because she's a minor, you can't do that? No. Just because she's a minor doesn't mean that they can't touch her. No, she's now under arrest for obstruction. They haven't even looked in their bags yet to see all the shit they stole. I have a very strong feeling that seeing her getting handcuffed is going to be very, very satisfying.
Minor. So
Convince her to
recording.
Simply provide us with your name and date of
Don't
birth.
try to switch it up now because I got you recorded. I just said
We're not switching anything up.
because you was definitely coming over here aggressive as hell with them cuffs out, and so I said you can't touch your minor. So
Well,
don't
that's not
try
how
to
it
back
works.
it up because I'm putting on because I got you recorded. Don't try to change the subject.
It's so funny when people like this decide that they know better than the police officers. Honey, they're recording you too. You having your phone out doesn't mean shit, okay? They're gonna do what they need to do. So quit trying to act like you know something you don't really know.
Look, I got a body cam on right now too.
Yeah,
The whole thing's
that don't
recorded.
mean nothing. Y'all can either wipe that out a whole bunch of dirty cops. I don't believe that.
You're-
Body cam.
Well, she's
It's a
gonna
lot of
give
dirty
us her
cops.
name, or
It's a
she's
lot of dirty
you
don't
give us
trust
your
no
name or
cop.
no. All right, so you're under
Tell
arrest
me
right
your
now. So
name.
put
Bro,
your
do not touch me. I'm
Just
not-
give a name
Bro,
and
do
date
not
of birth.
touch me. Do
You
not
cannot
touch me.
put
Bro,
your
do
hands on
not touch me, bro.
You
I'm
cannot
dead
touch
serious,
a
bro.
minor.
Get off of me.
You
I'm
can't
not-
touch a
bro,
minor.
I'm telling
You can't touch a
bro,
minor.
do not touch me, bro.
Touch a minor. You
Bro,
can't
what
touch
the
a minor.
Bro, do not touch me, bro. Do not touch me, bro.
No, I'm not. You cannot touch a minor. You can't touch a minor.
Bro, do not touch me, bro. Do not touch me. You corny as hell, bro.
I'm still recording.
What does being corny have to do with handcuffing you? Has the meaning of the word corny changed since I was in high school?
Step back.
I don't care. I got a lawyer. You
Okay,
can't
good.
touch no minor.
Step back.
You can't touch no minor.
Step back.
You can't
Stop.
touch a minor.
Stop.
How you getting mad because they touching a minor? You can't do that. You know you can't.
Why is she wearing a mask?
Y'all funny as hell, bro.
You can't do that. That's the law.
Let go of your
No,
bag.
I'm not. You ain't about to
Let go of your
touch
bag.
No, ask me nicely.
Let go of
Why
your
you
bag.
being so aggressive?
Let go of your bag.
Ask me nicely.
Let go of your bag.
Ask me nicely. Not
Let
give
go
it
of
to
your
you.
bag.
No, you're not about to be aggressive with
Let
me.
go of your bag. Stop pulling.
Cuffs already on me. Yo, if you don't let me go, I promise you, I'll spit
Go
on
ahead.
you.
Go ahead.
Bro, let me go, bro.
Go ahead. Go ahead and spit. I would love to see you add battery on a police officer to your criminal lineup.
Stop pulling and I'll let go of you.
Let me go. I've been standing here.
Work.
Talk, I don't know what the wrong with y'all cops. Talk work.
Wild one, gay.
While starting my first of 5 successful businesses, I foolishly did my own accounting.
Why is it that every time these goo girls get caught stealing, one of them pops up pregnant?
All right, you're going to be in trouble. I just told you I'm pregnant. You're going to meet against the car. That's the biggest lawsuit.
Let go.
You don't throw a pregnant woman on the car. You can say, can I please have your
Please let
bag?
go of the bag.
That's all you got to say. But don't throw me on no car.
I
I'm
didn't throw
pregnant.
you against any
Yes,
car.
you did. Yes, you did. Now, since I told you I'm pregnant, you want a whole different excuse.
You can give me this now.
No,
That's
you
a
not
little.
touching my bag, bro. Yo.
Let go of that, please.
Let go.
CC, bro. Bro, come get him, bro. Come get him, bro. Come get him, bro.
You can't do that. You can't throw a pregnant woman against the car. I told you I was pregnant. You still threw me against the car. So you gonna be.
So you really think you know everything, huh? They can't touch minors. They can't throw pregnant women against cars. You probably got them so pissed off they will gladly wait for you to pee on a stick and prove that one. But I highly doubt you're pregnant. I call bullshit on that. And so do they, I'm sure.
Can't do that.
Do you have any weapons on your
No. No, I don't got no weapons. But I like with a weapon.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
No, I ain't got no weapon. If I did, I would use it.
Okay. Put your hand.
Oh, really? Oh, so you're gonna, vaguely threat a police officer there saying, if I had a weapon, I'd use it. Oh, man. You just keep making the situation better and better.
Going me against the car.
You're not going to make comments like that. You're not going to make comments like that. Put your hands behind your back. Okay, we're going to go against my car now.
Bro, why the yo, this man is acting crazy. Bro,
You got to let go of this
let go of my bag, bro. This is my anything that's in my bag, it will get the out, bro.
Let go of it, please. Come on. Come on.
Bro, let go of my bag, bro.
You're done.
Let go. I'm not done shit. You talking about?
Let go of the bag.
Bro, get the off, bro.
Damn, what you doing all that because I'm black?
Stop moving your arms.
You're right. They are doing all of this to you because you're black. Secret's out.
No, it won't be different. If I have a miscarriage, I'm taking your scalp.
Well, then relax.
I'm touching it.
Yo, you cannot touch my bro.
Let go of the bag.
Bro, you
Move your
off. Bro, get the off.
And now, the moment of truth.
Oh, y'all be dirty.
Oh boy, now we get to go through the purses. And we've seen enough of these to know that everybody tries to stick their legs outside of the car or put their feet out so that they can't shut the door. Do they not have leg restraints in the back of police cars by now? They should probably invest in those.
Oh, big surprise. Big surprise. Big surprise.
You were going to take the rent that you want to give her name. How you going to get back?
Big surprise.
No? So you can't handle no minor. That's how you handle women. Who raised you?
Right.
I don't care. I wasn't doing nothing but recording. That's what I was doing, recording. Get out my code. Get down right. Damn, what the you about to hurt? If you hurt my baby, you gonna be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, okay then. So you better be. Yeah, I just told y'all that I'm not gonna keep saying it. You hurt my baby, it's on.
Definitely.
Let me out of here, bro.
You're not hurting yourself. Just
Bro, let me
out the lot and see if there's a car sitting around or something. Let her keep kicking. Let her keep kicking. Yeah, just stand right there and film her.
Bro, let me out, bro.
Hey, she's out of her cup. Yeah.
Oh, are they going to add an escape charge to her now? Man, she's just racking up these charges and I'm loving it.
What do you want to do? Listen.
Bro, take these off of me, bro. Take these off of me. Get me the out this car, bro.
These are double.
Bro, get me the out this car, bro.
Is that her only word that she speaks?
Bro!
Stop.
Bro,
Relax.
get me out!
Ma'am, just relax. Can you please relax?
Bro, you break my wrist, bro. You won't hate me. I swear to God, bro.
Relax, please.
Yo, y'all is terrible. Terrible.
All right. How do you double lock this guy? Okay.
Please tell me that they're going to charge her with escape. Please. It's not like she's complying. Please give her the extra charge. Please, please. This is why I'm not a police officer. I would be giving charges for every minute detail I could. I'd be like, you get a charge, and you get a charge, and you get a charge.
If you need up to $3,000, just go to
WeFixMoney.com
and get the money you need.
Nope.
Bro, I don't give a shut up, you ugly.
Someone's got to get on the other side. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get.
Bro, let me get the out. I don't want to be in this car.
Can you please sit in the car, ma'am? Ma'am, let go of the car.
Yo, you ripping my.
Let go. Can you please let go of the car? Ma'am, can you please let go of the car?
Bro, what's wrong with
Can you please let go of the car?
No.
Listen, the more you kick, the more charges you're gonna get. Do you understand? When you damage the car, you're gonna be charged. Do you understand?
If it was somebody white, y'all wouldn't need to be doing all this. What are you looking at, traitor trash? Ain't nothing inside my coat. Get out my coat. Why you all in my? Ain't nothing in my coat but a mask. Get out my coat. Ask me, can you go inside my coat? I'm a girl and y'all men. Y'all ain't even supposed to be. Y'all ain't supposed to be frisking me. We're a woman.
Oh, okay.
I know my rights.
Yeah.
We're a woman.
That's a wrong right.
Yeah, we're a woman, cop that. Cause you ain't supposed to touch me. No, I can refuse it because I'm a woman. You ain't supposed to touch me. You a guy. Ain't nothing in here but a. You better not touch my stomach.
Let's get her in the car. Can I get her? Where's your car at?
Over the 3 incidents, the females had stolen more than $4,500 worth of luxury perfumes.
Wow.
Amira was charged with 2 counts of shoplifting, obstructing the administration of law, resisting arrest, aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, disorderly conduct, and criminal mischief. Sierra was charged with 2 counts of shoplifting, obstructing the administration of law, resisting arrest, and hindering.
Oh, yeah, they stacked up all kinds of charges.
All right,
I mean, they
fine.
didn't get her for
How long is
escape,
this
but they
one?
got her for a lot of other things.
Kate thought you were going away for 4 years. I told her that the video I was talking about. Wow. Bro. Her favorite word, BRO. That was a wild one. So the next one's going to be Trish. It's a viral video that I didn't really play the whole video with that one lady out of Chicago. But Trish is going to play it. 6 minutes.
Sightings? Alien sighting.
As we think about voter ID being up for grabs right now, and don't forget, this has been a big, big issue, right? Voter ID,
We'll go to
the left
8:30
tells
tonight,
us,
guys.
oh, this is game over. This is going to ruin democracy because nobody who's Black can get an ID. Now, if you're Black, I think you're kind of annoyed by that, right? Because it's a little bit insulting to assume that you can't get an ID. Oh, this is Jim Crow all over again, 2.0. No, it's not actually, guys. We can't figure out what you're trying to do, but let's face it, pretty much everybody in America has an ID. I mean, unless you're voting illegally, I don't know why you wouldn't have an ID. And this is what this lady had to say. So there's a woman from Chicago that just is going viral right now because she's calling out the insanity of the left saying, well, Blacks can't get IDs. And she's calling out how nutty and sort of effectively racist it is, right? Like, why are you making some kind of nutso statement like that? Well, I think we all know why, but she's calling them out to their faces. And this is epic. I want to play it for you. Just watch.
The reality is this. Black people's voting is not in danger, and you know it's not. And you know it's not. I'm 63 years old. I've been voting since I was 18. I have never had a problem voting. Now, that may apply to my mother and father. It applies to my grandparents. Surely it does. And in fact, because it does, every single person in this room needs to really be thanking us. Really need to be thanking us for getting y'all the right to vote, for getting y'all the right to be here, instead of sitting up here manipulating the Voting Rights Act like something's getting ready to happen to our right to vote, when you know that's not true. So now you all gonna drag Black people in here, definitely some senior citizens, and gonna have them come up here and talk about how they scared to vote, how this messed up their right to vote, women need to vote, all that junk, when you know it's not true. Just like you sit up here and make like Black people can't get IDs. Us requiring IDs to vote, it's gonna stop Black people from voting. Why black people ain't got IDs? See, you all get more and more ridiculous. But you can't, in this room, police black people, talk about that federal case that just got filed Monday that's talking about how you all are stealing property at Cook County sales. Where the black people in here? Raise your hand that if they told you to come in here to talk about how your property got stolen. Where you at? Huh? Because we got commissioners in here that know for a fact it's happening. Catskill, you know it's happening. Lloyd, you know it's happening. Michael Scott, you know it's happening. Lamont Williams, come on, you give up cases for the county. You know it's happening. Donna Miller, you know what's happening. Well, come on, y'all black people that they done sent here with these 501c3s, that they got y'all in here talking for them. Why y'all in here talking about how they stealing our property?
1 minute.
Where y'all at? Come on, because y'all getting ready to come up here to this mic and lie for the cameras to say that black people's vote is done by this Louisiana thing and Donald Trump and the Trump administration, when Donald Trump is in front of the Supreme Court right now, fighting for the 14th Amendment, saying that black people, that amendment was for black people.
30 seconds.
Not for birthrights, not for people to anchor themselves over here illegally. And they got y'all black people in here getting ready to talk against him. I mean, y'all real sick up in the head. You're sick in the head and more sicker in your spirit. This is insane.
Time has expired for the speaker.
Wow. Wow.
Sim.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that was amazing. Can we get her?
You guys look at that one.
Because I would watch that. I mean, that was just amazing. She really articulated it quite well and with such passion. And I think the whole room was like, oh my gosh. Meanwhile, you know, it's unbelievable. This whole like, we don't want ID thing. It has one guy thinking he's going to take a little trip, he said, right across the country. We did this in my shorts feed because he's got a plan. He figures so long as they're not checking ID, you know, maybe he can vote in that LA mayoral election. Watch. I love this.
I will be flying to Los Angeles to illegally vote for Spencer Pratt. What they gonna do? ID me?
Talking about turning the tables.
Stacey, could you talk a little bit about how
we don't need to go back to Stacey, but you get it. In other words, this is just so ridiculous and it's so politicized and it's gotten to the point where, you know, okay, Stacey, I'm sorry, you're going to actually have to compete for real. You're actually going to have to deliver for those voters and they deserve it. And it's high time. So enough with the whole, you know, we can't find our voter ID. Enough with the we need to gerrymander these maps so that we prevent any kind of possible racism. No, you know what? We've gotten to the point as a society, we don't need to look at color anymore. We're going to look right past color. We're just going to pick the community, okay? And the community is going to do what's best for the community, period. Full stop. It is great to have you guys here today. I see so many of you telling me that you have subscribed, a few of you saying that somehow you got unsubscribed. So do me this favor. I don't know how that happens, believe me, but make sure you check your subscription. Make sure that you are subscribed. You can also follow me over on Spotify, where we have a show every day as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining live. Make a comment. What do you think? I mean, should that woman get a gig at The View? I think so.
That was a good shout out. That one was going viral. Got a few short ones here, and then I'm going to finish the last one on the X2 report. Breaking news, somebody's missing, you guys.
Has reportedly gone completely missing and vanished into hiding after her own staff turned on her.
Jasmine Crockett has reportedly gone into hiding and is missing after her staff turn on her, go behind her back, and do an article with the New York Post where they expose Jasmine Crockett for being the worst kind of person and, in their words, calling her a boss from hell. But before she went off the grid, she did an interview with CBS, and the reporter asks her about this scathing article, and she starts to unravel, calls her own staff racist and sexist, and then descends into her favorite talking point, you know, Republicans are a whole bunch of racist KKK members. I'm not kidding. She said that. I think Jasmine is in the midst of a mental breakdown because she's already panicking that Texas is drawing her out of a job. Last week, the Atlantic exposed her for being a raging narcissist who has her own face as her phone lock screen. And now even her staff is turning their back on her. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. But let's hear about this article from Jasmine's disgruntled staffers that put her in a straitjacket. The article didn't say anything we don't already know about Jasmine Crockett. She's rude, she's abrasive, she's undignified, she's insufferable. So that part is no surprise to us. What I take from this and why it's so significant is Jasmine Crockett is probably the most racist person in the Democrat Party. This woman absolutely hates white people, and she lets us know that. So you know her staff was comprised of a whole bunch of black women. So for someone who truly believes that white supremacy is rampant, it is currently trampling and oppressing on black people, and how the patriarchy makes it so hard for women. So you would think she would treat her staff, who she would be helping break into this racist boys club of government, with
Breaking news. A sitting U.S. Congresswoman has reportedly gone completely missing and vanished into hiding after.
Five minutes.
Michael Chambers, this is your report. I ask you to listen with love, as where we go one, we go all. The following report is provided in part by Guardian Daniel R. Unveiling the justice, arrests, and executions. Be sure to watch Eyes on Gitmo, recently published, for a detailed update from a panel of military experts. Now, the wheels of justice may turn slowly, but their momentum is unrelenting. The revolution against the cabal has resulted in a wave of arrests and executions that have sent shockwaves throughout the deepest corridors of power. The intricate web of betrayal is being meticulously unraveled, laying bare the true nature of those who swore to protect and to serve. Now, in the darkness of the clandestine operations, a whispered deal emerged, a pact with those who possessed damning information. In exchange for divulging critical intelligence, a promise of a merciful end awaited them. Death with dignity or a life confined to a cell. The traitors were left with a choice that would seal their fates. No one is safe from the reckoning that is sweeping across this globe. Even the most powerful figures who once believed themselves untouchable have been unmasked and held accountable for their actions. The revelations expose the extent to which the cabal's influence extended, reaching into the heart of governments and institutions. And as the walls close in, even the most iconic figures have been brought to justice. A notable example is the shocking unraveling of Michelle and Barack Obama's legacy. The betrayal and treachery that lay beneath the surface were exposed, leading to a series of events that ultimately sealed their fates. The shadowy world of clandestine operations took an unprecedented turn when the activation of AI clones, actors, and doubles. The deep state's minions, once puppets in the hands of the cabal, now find themselves at the service of an unexpected leader, President Donald J. Trump. This surreal twist in the narrative marks a turning point in the revolution. Decoding the truth, D-Class and the Awakening. As the masses remain blissfully unaware, a grand spectacle unfolds before their eyes, a carefully orchestrated performance meant to expose hidden players and unveil a reality previously obscured. The D-Class initiative serves as both a testament to victory and a revelation of the intricate power dynamics that have shaped our world. Dark to light, love and light. Remember, no exceptions, no deals. Join me and Juan O'Savin live in our private Zoom room for the Patriot Q&A.
Okay, that was a short one on that one. I had a video Melania spoke a little bit ago. I gotta wait till I find it. I got 4 other short ones, and we're gonna make the X2 report last. Let's see what this one is. You guys remember this clip a long time ago? I don't know how old this is.
All of the central banks are from the same group.
That is very safe to say, yes. But it's more than the Bank for International Settlements. The BIS was created in 1930 for war reparations for Germany. But in the meantime, that group didn't just
Can I play this
come on
fine
the
ago? Is there
scene
music in the
suddenly.
background?
They're in front of something which has been going on for centuries. If you go back and read what was going on in the Middle Ages, when we had a Dark Ages, we are right now at the same point that we were in 400, which is when we went into the Dark Ages, because their currency failed. But we're at a point that doesn't have to happen. And as a matter of fact, the chance that it doesn't happen is 90 to 95%, because we know what's going on and we're not going to let it happen.
Tell my viewers what the,
Guys,
what the
hey,
Federal
is this safe
Reserve
play?
is, how they came into this country,
I don't
and
know
one of
how to do
the
it.
worst dastardly acts in the history of our country.
That was in 1913. What they did was they had a secret meeting. Griffin wrote a book on this, and they waited until most of the members of Congress had gone home at Christmas time, and then they passed this legislation. And by the way, the Federal Reserve note is unconstitutional.
It's good.
Correct.
Yeah, I got a couple
And
more.
what Kennedy tried to do and what Reagan tried to do was to essentially uphold the Constitution, which said what? That Congress would coin our money, correct? So there would be some accountability
2 days
to the
old.
money. Am I
Well,
right?
Yes, but it wasn't just up to Congress. The states could also issue currency in silver and gold. That was something that they were entitled to do.
So
And
Connecticut could have its own currency. New York could have had its own currency.
some of the states are now recognizing precious metals as currency. I believe 5 of them are doing
Wow.
this.
Wow. So in 5 states, you could go in to a store and have silver or gold and you can purchase things?
I think the way they're doing it is they're actually minting the currency in precious metals in those countries. But yes, I don't think you go into the store as much.
Is it
Yeah, I think there's 2 more.
Incorporated the United States and called the United States a corporation. And when they created the District of Columbia, what they did was they put that corporation in the District of Columbia. And they said that the members of Congress were actually managers of that corporation. And they said the President of the United States was actually the president of that corporation. So we're not living in the country that we think we're living in. And what I've actually done is I have said that we are under something called state capture. And I have said that there is an interregnum. And if you look that word up, that means that we don't have a legitimate government. And when the founding fathers wrote this Constitution, they realized that the bankers were trying to pull a fast one on us and to try to take over our governance. And so they put in a safety mechanism. And there's something called Article 5, which says that when 2/3 of the state legislatures request an amendment, that the Congress is required to convene a constitution to consider amendments. And the Congress was supposed to do that back in 1929. They've been in contempt of the American people. They haven't given us the opportunity to get our original Constitution back. They haven't even told us that we are not operating under our original Constitution. They've been lying to us.
Okay, I think I got one more.
of babies. And they've estimated how many taxes those babies are going to be paying for in their
Pretty
lifetime.
good clip, I think.
And they've taken that birth certificate and they've floated it on the capital markets and earned money on it.
So they took a shot at how much money they thought I would make in my lifetime because I had a social security number, right? And they basically rolled the dice on a capital market and made money off it. Is that what you're telling me?
A lot of money, that's right.
Of every citizen that had a social security number.
It gets much worse. Yes, not only that, but if two citizens are married by a justice of the peace, they're not actually married, because the person that the justice of peace is marrying is somebody with capital letters.
The straw man.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Anybody
And
see
what
those?
the bankers have.
Well, the 3 report once, I think. Last one is the X2 report. $24 I think it is. 27. Ah.
Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3908 AM. Today's date is May 19th, 2026, and the title of the episode is Trump is breaking the chains of the central bank. No inflation, no debt system, no income tax, freedom. Now, you know, it's very interesting. If you're like me and you're getting to that age where your body just feels sluggish and off all the time, then listen up. Because Dr. Josh explains that most of the time, this is caused by clogged liver. You've probably already heard about how important the liver is for detoxification, digestion, and energy levels. But for our audience, the link is on with the central bank until it's too late.
Fast forward.
And then you start to realize, wait a minute, why is the value of the currency declining? Why are we in a debt system? Why does everything cost so much? Why do I have to work harder and harder? Why am I paying all these taxes? Why are taxes continually going up? Why is my salary continually going down? Why aren't there any jobs? Why are all the jobs being shipped overseas? You see, this is what the central bank does over time, and it makes it harder and harder for people. And the central bank right now is being completely and utterly exposed. And Trump, in the end, will continually break all the chains that is now keeping the people enslaved. And soon we're going to see no inflation. Soon we're going to see a system that is based on income, not debt. Soon we're going to see a system where the powers that be do not take our hard-earned money. All of that is going to change. We're going to experience freedom. But you have to remember, Trump, he needs to dismantle everything that they put into place and set up a new system, because you don't shut down the old system unless you have a new system. And the new system better be able to compete with the old system. Actually, it better overshadow the old system. And that's exactly what Trump is doing right now. And think about it. Over the many, many years, what did they do? They put everything into place to make sure the country wouldn't grow. They put everything into place to make sure it was very difficult to start a small business. They put everything into place to make sure people didn't get ahead. They put everything into place to make sure that the country never thrived. And now Trump is reversing all of this. Step by step, this is what he's doing. He's reversing everything that they put into place to make sure that this country can thrive, and thrive without a central bank system. And yes, they place regulations in place to shut down the drilling, shut down the ability to create energy. They were doing this on purpose. And Trump, he put this out on Truth, letting everyone know, yeah, everything that they tried to do is being reversed. So it's very long, but I'm just going to read the key highlighted points. And this is what it says. Terminated the EPA's Environmental Justice Department and rescinded related environmental rules and memos. Reforming permitting processes to speed up energy projects. withdrawing from UN climate organizations and agreements, deregulating multiple agencies, DOE, USDA, DOT, etc., to prioritize energy production over restrictions, opening federal lands, including the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, for oil, gas drilling, and development, promoting U.S. energy supply, infrastructure, and independence, rolling back the green energy regulations, and expanding fossil fuel development. Now, I hate the term fossil fuels, but again, we know why the deep state players, the central bankers, hooked oil to fossil fuels to make you think that, hey, it could run out one day. And they linked it to the dinosaurs, you know, they're fossils, and that's what created the oil. But again, that's all fake, phony, and false. And they did this to convince you that one day we will run out of this type of energy source and we would have to move into a different type of energy source. Now, maybe in the future, we will move into a different type of energy source, but I don't think it's going to be wind power, solar panel, or anything like that. I think we're going to be using much more advanced, much more effective type of energy where we can continue to manufacture. And I do believe Trump right now is preparing the U.S. Remember, this is not something that can be done overnight, because you have to remember the deep state players, the central bankers, they put everything into place over a very long period of time to destroy the economic system, to destroy the infrastructure, destroy pretty much everything in this country. And you could see when Biden and / Obama, when they were in office, what did they do? They went full speed ahead in creating the new system. At least that's what they tried to do. And then people started to realize, wait a minute, this new system is destroying the economy. The new system is creating massive inflation. The new system is pushing gas prices way up. The new system is making everything much more expensive. Now, you have to remember, during Biden / Obama's term, they took a lot of the currency, and yes, a lot of it was put into circulation, which actually devalued the currency. And that's why things seem so expensive. And you have to remember, inflation is cumulative. So again, you just can't erase it unless you pay back the debt. Trump, did he put a lot of the currency back into circulation, creating inflation? Or are we seeing higher costs because of what's going on in Iran? We're seeing higher costs because of what's going on in Iran. Can that be reversed very easily without paying off the central bank system? Of course it can. As soon as everything is all said and done, what's going to happen is oil prices are going to drop, which means the inflation that people are feeling, where people are saying everything's very, very expensive. And you have to remember, it's not just the oil that's making it expensive. It's everything that the Biden administration has done and the presidents before that, because it's cumulative. But Biden went, way far beyond creating this inflation that really hurt people. When Trump starts to bring the oil prices down, all of a sudden people are going to start to realize and understand that, wait a minute, that was an easy fix. Now things are getting cheaper. Now things are much more affordable. Now, when he brings them below $3 or even below $2, people are going to start to realize, wow, this is absolutely incredible. Now, on the other hand, think about Kevin Warsh. He's going to be sworn in this Friday, and the process is going to begin. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but again, he's going to start to lower the rates, which means you're going to see credit card rates come down. You're going to see mortgage rates come down. You're going to see financing rates come down, which means a lot of people then can refinance their houses and get a much cheaper mortgage, which means they'll have more money in their pocket. They go to buy an automobile. They're going to pay a cheaper rate. So this way they can buy an automobile. Businesses will be able to refinance and expand their businesses. And you're going to see more and more people, they're going to feel a lot more comfortable as time goes on. So this is going to benefit the people, and it's not going to take that long when everything's all said and done. Because again, the only reason we're seeing higher costs right now is because of what's going on in Iran, because we're seeing higher fuel costs. But once this is all said and done, that's just going to disappear. Yes, are we going to be left with the cumulative inflation that we experienced? Absolutely. But again, think about all the manufacturing jobs that are being created. Think about all the construction jobs that are happening right now. And again, if the rates go down, that means you're going to see more homes being built. That means you're going to see more homes being renovated, which means you're going to see a lot more jobs. So again, this all feeds into one another. And if this is the case and there's more jobs out there and we're deporting a lot of the illegals, you're going to see wages go up, which means wages are going to be higher. Oil prices are going to be very low. The cost of items is going to drop. Interest rates are going to come down. And the country is going to be in a very good place. Now, remember, Trump is still playing within the private, what's a central bank system. The system still exists in the background. All he did was mitigate everything that they put into place. Now, eventually what he's going to do, he's going to move past this, and he's going to start to go after the central bank system, because remember, he's building a new system that's going to compete with the old system. The old system is a debt system. The new system is an income system. So you have two systems that are running at the same exact time. And as we move forward, we're going to see everything to begin to change. And eventually what we're going to see is Trump is going to move us from a debt system to an income system. So once you do that, and we no longer borrow the currency, it means inflation is going to literally disappear. Now, here's what your financial advisors won't tell you. By the time the news tells you to buy gold, it's too late. You're waiting. I get
Another
it. Everybody's
commercial.
waiting to see if the ceasefire holds. When you look at this graph, you could see it as clear as day. And think about what else the deep state players were doing. They were having institutions buy up houses, which made it very difficult for the American person to purchase a home. And it actually drove prices way, way up because there was nothing out in the market. And now Trump is reversing all of this. And of course, the deep state players, they're trying to stop this, because you have to remember the World Economic Forum, they told us they want you to own nothing and be happy. Trump wants you to own as much as you possibly can and be happy. I think people will be a lot happier if they're owning their home, owning their car, owning everything that they purchase instead of renting it. Bernie Moreno put this out and said, radical Dems like Maxine Waters and Al Sharpton are beholden to the corporate landlords, and Trump-hating rhinos are teaming up to kill the bipartisan housing bill. It must stop. It's time we restore the American dream and ban institutional investors from buying single-family homes. Don Jr. responded to this and said, banning institutional investors from buying single-family homes is a common-sense policy to drive down home prices. Every single Republican in Congress should be supporting it. We can't allow rhinos and Dems in the swamp to block my father's America First agenda on housing. Now, again, remember, their agenda is very, very different than Trump's agenda. Their agenda is to destroy the American economy. Their agenda is to make sure that the country enters a third world status. Their agenda is to make sure the infrastructure collapses. So this way they can move us into the Great Reset, because really that's what they had planned. If you look at Europe, that's where all this is headed, out there. And they're continuing down that path. Trump is not going down that path. Trump is reversing what they did. And this is why he's out in Iran. And this is why he wants the Strait of Hormuz completely open, and everyone should have free transit through there. No tolls, no insurance, no nothing. And he needs to decentralize the oil across the globe. And that's exactly what he's doing. Because again, the world produces and manufactures with the energy. The more expensive it is, the higher the cost. The less expensive, the lower the cost. So if Trump is trying to make us a manufacturing powerhouse, what do we need? We need very cheap energy. But the central bankers, they've had control over the energy for a very long time. They don't want to give up control, just like they don't want to give up control of the Federal Reserve. They don't want to give up the control of the creation of currency. They don't want to stop taxing you, because that is their system. Once they lose their system, once people see how great the system is without the central bank, without the debt system, without the inflation, without the income tax, people are never going to want to go back to the central bank. Now, the central bank knows this. They know that once people see it, it's game over for all of them. And this is why Trump is now removing everything that they put in place step by step. And yes, he's going to accelerate what he's doing, because again, he's building a new system. Now, if you look at the U.S. has a lot of energy resources within the U.S., especially natural gas. Jack Prandelli put this out and said, natural gas still runs North America. Forget the narratives. Look at the grid. In 2025, the biggest source of power across most U.S. states and Canadian provinces is still fossil-based. Natural gas dominates the U.S., largest power source in 30-plus U.S. states. Backbone of the U.S. emissions decline. Coal to gas switch. Critical for reliability as gas power demand surges. AI, data centers, reshoring. And you can see that, yes, the U.S., we have a lot of natural gas, which powers quite a bit. And this is why Trump needs the oil decentralized across the world, because all these prices are going to go down because they all affect each other. And you have to remember, Trump, in the end, he doesn't want the central bank system to exist the way it is today. He wants to remove the structure that they built. He wants to remove everything they put into place. So this way the people can regain control. Because if you're paying an income tax and you have to work harder and harder and harder because we're in a debt system and the value of the currency is continue declining, the people of the country don't have control over their economic future. Actually, they're slaves to the central bank system. And that's why I said in the very beginning, Trump is breaking those chains. And one of the chains that he's going to break is the income tax. And I'm going to read this again. Joe Lange explained it last time we read it, but I'm going to read it again of what he's about to do. He says, so many people are missing just how much America is already being transformed. It's been happening since Trump was first sworn in. What happened in the past? Favored corporations got special treatment from the government. They got special treatment in order to funnel profits back into the pockets of the very politicians who protected and promoted them. What's happening in the present under Trump? Trump just posted this on Truth. I made the USA $45 billion in 8 months. How did Trump make America $45 billion? Intel stock has surged over 385% since the U.S. took a 9.9% stake, with Trump saying the government's gain now exceeds $30 billion. Actually, he just mentioned that he should have taken a larger stake of Intel, but that's neither here or there. This investment is an unrealized gain that belongs to the American people. The politicians can't get their hands on this money. And Trump didn't use current tax receipts for this purchase. The Intel investment was reportedly funded by converting $5.7 billion in unpaid CHIPS Act grants and $3.2 billion from the Secure Enclave program into equity. The deal gave the government a passive, non-voting stake without a board seat. With a 9.9% holding, the U.S. government became Intel's largest single shareholder, according to the figures provided. The agreement also included a 5-year warrant allowing the government to buy an additional 5% of Intel shares at $20 each if Intel loses majority control of its foundry business. The American people are now the largest single shareholder of Intel. It was funded with unpaid grants from Biden's CHIP Act. Are you seeing the transformation? In the past, these big corporations were getting taxpayer money while moving their manufacturing overseas. Now they're building their manufacturing in America so that America will benefit from Intel's success. It's now a partnership between companies like Intel and the American people instead of a partnership between corporations and politicians at the expense of the American people. Part of the deal.
Tomorrow will be
Trump
another
is placing the
day.
American people in a position to profit from these investments. That's why Trump keeps telling the American people that dividend checks are coming in the future. The government paying the people instead of taxing them and taking their hard-earned money. Trump keeps telling us in different ways that he's going to completely end income taxes. Now think about this. Look at your paycheck. Look at how much money the federal government takes from your paycheck through income taxes and Social Security taxes. Imagine the American people suddenly getting to keep all their hard-earned money, an instant big pay raise. Do you fully understand how much our economy is going to grow? How about double-digit GDP growth? It's coming. And when Trump fixes the currency by backing the dollar with gold again, a golden age that none of us ever expected 10 years ago will completely change the lives of the American people. Trump is doing the opposite of past presidents. Anybody remember the term free market or free trade? Past presidents pushed free trade. Trump did the opposite by implementing tariffs. It's not only about returning manufacturing to America. The global cabal of elites and their puppets like George H.W. Bush were pushing free trade for a reason. I fell for that lie. NAFTA was one of the biggest scams on the American people. The American people were promised an increase in jobs and opportunity. The exact opposite happened. Our manufacturing was gutted, and many of our great cities were purposely put into decline. It was mostly about drugs. Trump is now rebuilding the country through tariffs, while at the same time giving the American people a financial benefit from our manufacturing success. That's a massive safeguard for our future. Once the American people start receiving dividend checks from these investments, they aren't going to vote for people to take them away. And that's absolutely true. And you have to remember, the central bank, it's been around for thousands of years. And the central bank has always bled the people dry in the end. And when they couldn't get any more from the people, either the people turned on the government, the kings, the queens, or whatever government was in place. They never turned on the central bankers because the central
4 minutes.
bankers were behind the curtain. And this allowed the central bankers then to set up shop someplace else. This time around, that's all going to change. Trump is going to expose the central bank. He's going to show the difference between a debt system and an income system. He's going to show how much better off you are without a central bank, without paying income tax, without inflation, without a debt system. And that's what people are going to see. And this time around, people are going to know it's the central bank system. That is the root of all evil. That is the system that's been enslaving us, making us work harder and harder and harder, making each generation work harder and harder and harder. And think about what they wanted to do. They know their system's breaking down. They know they kicked the can down the street. They know eventually the system will collapse. So what they do is they prepare the system to collapse, and this is a controlled collapse to bring us into their new system. Trump stepped in and pretty much is shutting it all down. And this is why they're so panicked. And this is why Trump freed the oil market in Venezuela. This is why he's out in Iran freeing the oil market from the deep state, the central bankers. Iran is just a proxy army. They're taking instructions from the deep state, the central bankers. And basically, he's freeing the oil across the globe. Everything the deep state, the central bankers have set into place, he's undoing. And he had to do this first, as we discussed before, because without doing this, they still have control. They still have the ability to destroy the economy. And this is not the only thing that he's going to do. He also needs to wean us off the central bank system because, again, the central bank system, they still have control over the people if people are paying taxes. So as we wean ourselves off the taxes and the income system pays the interest on the debt, it frees the people up. And the people are no longer responsible, which means the control is pretty much gone. Then, if you look at the debt, I do believe Trump is going to probably make the case that this debt was created via fraud, and fraud vitiates everything. Plus, it's going to show that there's been a rebellion in this country under Amendment 14, Section 4. And I do believe this debt is going to shrink to pretty much nothing in the end, which will allow Trump to then pay it off, which will then allow him to bring us fully into the new system. And he's doing this in a slow pace. At least that's what people think it is. But actually, if you really look at it, it's a very fast pace. But he's doing it in such a way where he doesn't hurt the American people. He doesn't hurt your wealth. He doesn't hurt the jobs. He doesn't hurt anything. It might seem like things are chaotic because of what he's doing, because he's transitioning and removing what the central bank has put into place. But in the end, it's all going to work out, and people are going to see that as clear as day. And all those people that have been talking doom and gloom and the economy that we know today is a central bank economy. The new economy is going to actually function completely different, because you have to remember, this is a debt system. We're moving into an income system. Two very, very different systems, and people are going to see the difference. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we got 2X report today. All right, 2 good shows today, you guys. Thanks. And thanks, mods. Are you okay, Carol, Lucy, Tim? All the new people listening, coming in. Another day tomorrow, another Rocky Wednesday. We'll probably have a Mel video tomorrow night. So God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like and stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Signing off for Tuesday night. Chico Dude. See you all tomorrow.